Jessa Duggar and Ben Sewald got divorced today. Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. For Duggar family latest news update, please subscribe the channel and press the bell icon. It was a quiet Sunday morning in Springdale, Arkansas, or at least it should have been. Birds chirped gently, the town's church bells rang like clockwork, and families prepared for worship. But inside the massive, brick-walled Duggar family estate, the calm had shattered like glass. Jessa Duggar Sewald, once the smiling, polished face of family values and purity culture, stood frozen by the window, clutching a manila envelope. Her husband, Ben Sewald, wasn't home. He hadn't been home for 2 nights, and now the truth was unraveling in front of her eyes. Inside the envelope were photographs, emails, bank statements, evidence. Ben hadn't just been hiding something, he'd been hiding everything. The perfect life, or so it seemed. From the outside, Jessa and Ben had the perfect life. They were the golden couple of the Duggar extended family, deeply religious, always smiling, and raising their 4 children in a God-fearing home. Their YouTube videos had thousands of views, their sponsored content was thriving, and they often posted Bible verses in floral fonts across social media. But behind the filtered photos, their marriage had been crumbling. Ben, who once seemed shy and soft-spoken, had grown distant. He stayed late at the gym, he took work calls in the garage, and lately he had developed a strange interest in law enforcement, volunteering for community patrol programs and attending police workshops, even though he wasn't qualified. Jessa had her suspicions, but she'd always been taught to submit to her husband and never question the man of the house. Until one day, a woman named Anita messaged her on Instagram. Anita and the unraveling. Anita wasn't the type to stay silent. She was bold, beautiful, and had nothing to lose. "I think you deserve to know the truth," the message read. At first, Jessa thought it was spam or a jealous fan, but Anita wasn't bluffing. She had pictures of Ben, from late nights at hotels in Fayetteville, receipts from luxury boutiques in Dallas, even a short video where Ben kissed her cheek as he slid into a black pickup truck. For weeks, Jessa tried to ignore the growing signs. Maybe it was a misunderstanding. Maybe she was just overthinking, but deep down, she knew. And Anita had more than secrets. She had leverage. "I wasn't the only one," Anita later admitted, in a voice note that would go viral just weeks later. The police knock. It was 6:13 a.m. on a Wednesday when the police arrived. Neighbors' doorbell camera caught it all. 2 officers walked up to the house, knocked 3 times, and waited. Ben answered, wearing sweatpants and a CrossFit shirt, looking like he hadn't slept. They arrested him on the spot. The charges? Fraud, identity theft, unauthorized use of state law enforcement equipment. Ben had apparently been impersonating a community officer, using false credentials to gain access to private records. He had even created a fake badge. Why? The public would soon learn it had nothing to do with law and order. He'd been using the badge to gain trust from women, from local businesses, from churches who didn't ask too many questions. The family divide. When the news broke, the internet exploded. All over trended on Twitter for 2 days straight. Instagram Reels dissected every second of the police footage. YouTubers uploaded 45-minute breakdowns, titled Jessa Duggar Sewald Divorce? What really happened with Ben inside the Duggar family? Chaos erupted. Some siblings supported Jessa, quietly texting her encouragement and promising help. Others, especially the older, more conservative ones, believed she should stay and pray for her husband's redemption. But Jessa had made up her mind. She filed for divorce the next morning. The courtroom and the cameras. The courtroom was packed. Jessa wore a gray blazer and minimal makeup, her expression unreadable. Ben sat beside his lawyer, clearly nervous, his once boyish charm gone. Anita was there too, subpoenaed as a witness. The trial revealed everything: fake IDs, hacked emails, even hush money paid to a woman in Nashville. Ben had gone far beyond infidelity. He had orchestrated a network of lies that shocked even seasoned reporters. He was sentenced to 14 months in federal prison and 5 years of probation. Jessa never looked at him once. Moving forward. After the trial, Jessa released a video titled "Starting Over: My Truth." It was raw, emotional, and honest. She spoke about shame, about being raised to believe divorce was sinful, about the pain of realizing your whole life was built on an illusion. "I thought I knew what love was," she said. "I thought I knew what loyalty meant. But sometimes, love means walking away." The video received over 4 million views in 1 week. She later launched a podcast called Unfiltered Grace, where she interviewed other women raised in high-control environments, sharing stories of breaking free. Anita became a guest on episode 4, Redemption and Revenge. Ben's release from prison was quiet. He moved to Missouri, changed his name, and disappeared from the public eye. Rumors swirled that he tried to join a new church under an alias, but Reddit detectives were quick to expose him. Jessa, meanwhile, thrived. She published a book, Raised Right, Hurt Wrong, which topped Christian memoir charts. Her kids went to a progressive school in Little Rock. And she even started dating slowly, cautiously, but with a sense of freedom she'd never known. As for Anita, she became an influencer, with a fierce following of women supporting women. Her memoir, The Other Woman Who Found Herself, sold out pre-orders in 48 hours. Epilogue: The Duggar name. The Duggar family name would never be the same. What was once a symbol of tradition and purity became a reminder of how much can go wrong when appearances are valued over truth. But Jessa didn't regret any of it. "I may have lost a husband," she wrote in her book's final chapter, "but I found myself." Jinger Duggar brings new baby home to Arkansas to meet the whole Duggar family. Are Jinger Duggar and Jeremy Vullo teasing a move back to Arkansas? According to a recent Instagram story, they might be considering it. The couple and their 3 kids are visiting Michelle and Jim Bob at the big house so their new son, Finn, can meet the rest of the Duggar family. While their Jinger and Jeremy had to fill up their car with gas and were stunned by how inexpensive it was compared to Southern California, where they live now. When Jeremy told Jinger to look at the price, she remarked, "What in the world? Should we move back?" Despite her musings, it seems unlikely Jinger and Jeremy will move back to Arkansas anytime soon. In August 2024, they purchased their home in Santa Clarita, California, for just under $2 million. If Jinger's Instagram posts are any indication, they've been loving the house and their neighborhood. This is baby Finn's first time meeting most of the Duggars, although he has met a few members of the giant family. Michelle was present at his birth, and Jessa, Jana, and John David recently visited California with their families. Most of the 19 Duggar siblings still live in Arkansas, near the big house in Tontatown. Jill, Jinger, and Jana have ventured further away from home, so it's a big deal when they visit the family. Although Jinger has spoken out about the challenges of growing up as a Duggar primarily through her memoirs, becoming free in deed and people-pleaser, she's still close with her mom and many of her siblings. Although Jinger loves her family, it appears she and Jeremy are content living in California. But who knows? Before Jinger Duggar began wearing pants herself, she had a hard time seeing her friends make the switch. The Counting on Alum, 31, and her husband, Jeremy Vullo, were joined by her sister Joyanna Duggar on the Wednesday, April 16 episode of the Jinger and Jeremy podcast to discuss the Duggar family's headline-making modesty practices. Jinger and her siblings were raised in an ultra-conservative Christian household and followed strict rules, one of which included women and girls wearing skirts and dressing modestly. Vullo, 37, pointed out that while the family's beliefs seemed like another world to those on the outside, many people in the Duggars community followed similar guidelines. "For you to do anything other than that was like a bombshell," he said. Jinger agreed that it was so normal for her and her sisters and even their mom Michelle Duggar, to dress modestly. You kind of start to not think twice about it until you are surrounded with other people who are conducting their lives differently. And then that's something where you start to think more about Oak. Why do I do what I do? She added. Every time a Duggar child broke their family rules. Joyanna, 27, noted that there were also people in their lives that branched out from the modest uniform earlier on. To me, it was a big deal Weedy that always wore skirts started wearing pants, she said. Then I was like, oh well, they know better. That was my attitude behind it. Reveals Mom Michelle's strange parenting methods while looking back at the family's first TV special. In a long time since the Duggar family was part of a TLC reality show, but it seems like at least one of them is friends with someone who is. In an Instagram photo dump that Jinger Duggar shared over the weekend, she quietly revealed that she spent time with Welcome to Plathville star Lydia Plath, something that has definitely thrown fans for a loop. Jinger's followers recognized someone familiar in her post. Hidden among the photos that Jinger shared from her weekend are a few snaps that include Lydia and her husband, Zach Wise. In one of them, Jinger is posing for a selfie with Lydia and a couple of other women while out in Los Angeles together. It didn't take long before fans started leaving comments asking if that was Lydia Plath in the pictures, to which Jinger responded yes. Lydia also shared a photo on her own Instagram stories. Lydia shared the post on her Instagram stories, showing a photo of her and Zach sitting together on the couch in Jinger's house, holding her baby boy, Finn, who arrived at the end of March. No word on why Lydia and Zach were in lay or how she and Jinger ended up becoming friends, but it is sweet to see them enjoying time together. After all, can anyone understand what it's like to be on a TLC reality show other than another TLC reality star? Fans were happy to see Lydia and Jinger together. In the comments, fans shared just how much they were loving this counting on / Welcome to Plathville crossover. Aloo a visit from Lydia and her new husband. One person wrote. Another commenter added, oh, I love to see that you are friends with Lydia. Others speculated that Lydia and Zach may have visited to be guests on Jinger and Jeremy's podcast, but nothing has been announced just yet. The Duggars and the Plaths had similar upbringings. Jana Duggar road accident. It was 6:47 p.m. when Jana Duggar's silver Honda Civic swerved off the wet highway. The skies had been crying since dawn, a steady drizzle that soaked the mountain roads of Asheville, North Carolina. The mist rolled down in thick sheets, blurring the lines between asphalt and oblivion. Jana didn't remember the moment her tires lost grip. 1 second, she was humming to Chasing Cars by Snow Patrol. The next, she was spinning, metal shrieking, airbags bursting, and the world going sideways in a blur of pine trees and flashing headlights. The crash came not as a bang, but as a terrible silence that followed a violent crescendo. The only thing louder than the crash was the quiet that came after. Memories and metal. She woke up in a white room that smelled of disinfectant and artificial lemon. Toots were in her arms, and her left leg hung suspended in a cast. Pain came next, dull, sharp, electric. But even stronger was the fog in her mind. The crash had taken more than metal and blood. It had taken moments, minutes, hours, maybe even more. A nurse, gray-haired with kind eyes, leaned over her. "You're lucky," the woman said. "You were unconscious for nearly 12 hours. Someone found your car in a ditch just off Route 19. You might have died if they hadn't." Jana's voice cracked like old vinyl. The nurse smiled. "A man named Elias. He stayed until the ambulance came. Said he couldn't leave you like that." The name meant nothing, and everything. It tugged at her brain like a thread she couldn't pull. The lost and found. A week passed. The bruises turned yellow. The stitches itched. Jana learned to maneuver the wheelchair around the hospital's narrow halls. She hadn't spoken to anyone from her past. Not her father, not her ex-boyfriend Marcus, not her boss from the art gallery. She didn't want to. In her dreams, the crash played on repeat, but always slightly different. In some versions, she swerved to avoid a deer. In others, she saw headlights coming toward her, bright and blinding. Once, she saw a shadowy figure standing in the middle of the road. She began to question, was it really just an accident? The visitor. It was on the 9th day that he came. Elias, tall, with rainwater in his beard and worry in his eyes. He carried a paper bag and a folded flannel jacket under one arm. "I brought you coffee," he said awkwardly, "and muffins, the kind with blueberry and streusel topping." Jana studied him. "Why did you stay?" He hesitated. "Because you looked like someone I knew once, and because no one else was stopping." Jana sipped the coffee. It was lukewarm, but she didn't care. "You were the only one. The road was empty. Just me, coming back from Hendersonville. Did you see anything?" Elias's face shifted. Like what she stared at him, like another car, or someone in the road. His silence lasted a heartbeat too long. "No," he said finally. "Just you. Just your car. The ditch was deep. You were lucky the trees slowed the impact." Jana didn't believe him. Cracks in the glass. Jana left the hospital 2 weeks later, hobbling on crutches, the crash haunting her steps. Back in her apartment, everything was just as she'd left it. The pile of laundry, the broken clock stuck at 6:47, the sketch pad on her desk with half-finished drawings of eyes, watchful, unsettling eyes. Her phone buzzed constantly. Marcus had texted 6 times. "Heard about the accident. You okay? Please call me." She didn't reply. Instead, she opened her laptop and searched "car accidents Route 19 Asheville," and there it was. Report from 2 years ago. Local girl dies in fatal collision on Route 19. No other cars involved. The victim's name, Lena Carter. Jana clicked on the article. A photo popped up. She gasped. It was like looking in a mirror. The girl had her nose, her hair, her jawline. Different eyes, but still eerily similar. Jana whispered that's who Elias saw. Ghosts of the curve. Jana drove back to the crash site 3 days later. Her new car, a rental, felt foreign beneath her hands. The sky was clear this time. The road was dry. But her heart pounded as she neared the curve where it had all gone wrong. She pulled over, stepped out, and stared down the embankment where her car had landed. There were tire marks still faintly visible. She wandered to the guardrail and saw something odd, a bouquet of plastic flowers tied with faded ribbon, a memorial, with a handwritten note, "We still see you, Lena." The date below it matched Lena Carter's death. Jana touched the flowers, and the world spun again. Marcus's confession. It was Marcus who cracked first. After she sent him a photo of the memorial, he came over pale and sweating. "I didn't tell you everything," he began. "About that road. About Lena." "What do you mean?" He rubbed his face. "Lena was my cousin. We weren't close, but she died on that road, same spot. Everyone said it was just an accident, but she had been driving away from her boyfriend, Elias." Jana felt her blood freeze.